Have you ever wondered what would happen if a single decision could change the course of history? Let's rewind to the year 1919. The ink is fresh on the Treaty of Versailles, a document that would forever alter the landscape of global politics. This treaty, a response to the horrors of World War I, imposed strict restrictions on Germany's military capabilities. The aim? To prevent such a devastating conflict from happening again. One of the most significant stipulations was the demilitarization of the Rhineland, a region in Western Germany. This was more than just a strategic move. It was symbolic, a clear message to Germany and the world that the nation's military power had been significantly diminished. Post-war Germany found itself in a precarious position, with a military that was a mere specter of its former might. The Rhineland, once a symbol of their strength, was now a glaring testament to their loss. So, Germany was left with a military that was a shadow of its former self and a region, the Rhineland, completely demilitarized. But what if someone dared to defy such a treaty? Enter Adolf Hitler in 1936. With the Treaty of Versailles still casting a long shadow over Germany, Hitler, the then leader of Nazi Germany, made a bold move. Against the terms of the treaty, he ordered the remilitarization of the Rhineland, a region in Western Germany that had been demilitarized in the aftermath of World War I. This audacious move was not one born out of whim or fancy. It was a calculated risk, a strategic maneuver aimed at strengthening Germany's military capabilities. The Rhineland, with its strategic location bordering France and Belgium, was a crucial region for Germany's defense and offensive capabilities. By remilitarizing the Rhineland, Hitler hoped to reassert Germany's might and challenge the restrictions imposed by the Treaty of Versailles. But why, you might ask, did Hitler risk such a daring move? The answer lies in a combination of factors. Firstly, Hitler believed that the Western powers, particularly France and the United Kingdom, were not prepared to go to war over the issue. Secondly, he was keen to test the resolve of the League of Nations, the international body tasked with maintaining peace. The international reaction to Hitler's bold move was a mix of shock, disbelief, and inaction. France and the United Kingdom lodged formal protests, but neither was willing to risk a military confrontation. The League of Nations, already struggling with its own credibility, failed to take decisive action. This lack of concrete response emboldened Hitler and paved the way for his subsequent aggressive policies. In a nutshell, Hitler's audacious move was a clear challenge to the Treaty of Versailles. It was a gamble, a roll of the dice that paid off handsomely for Hitler and Nazi Germany. It underscored the weaknesses of the League of Nations and the unwillingness of the Western powers to enforce the terms of the treaty. Hitler's audacious move was seen by many as an outright act of defiance against the Treaty of Versailles. In the grand scheme of things, it was a pivotal moment that set the stage for the more ominous events to come. So what were the consequences of Hitler's gamble? Hitler's decision to remilitarize the Rhineland was a bold defiance of the Treaty of Versailles. It not only represented a significant shift in Germany's approach to international diplomacy, but it also marked the beginning of Hitler's aggressive expansionist policy. This policy, as history tells us, would eventually lead to the outbreak of the Second World War. The remilitarization of the Rhineland was a direct challenge to the major powers of Europe, particularly France and the United Kingdom. These nations, still bearing the scars of the Great War, were hesitant to respond with military force. The French, despite having a superior military, were reluctant to act without British support. The British, on the other hand, were more inclined towards appeasement, hoping to avoid another devastating war. This lack of decisive action from France and Britain was a clear signal to Hitler. It suggested to him that he could violate the Treaty of Versailles without facing immediate military consequences. This emboldened Hitler and set the stage for his subsequent annexations of Austria and the Sudetenland in Czechoslovakia. the reactions of the major powers had a profound impact on the balance of power in Europe. Germany, once militarily restricted, was now rearming and expanding. The international community's failure to respond decisively to Hitler's actions in the Rhineland gave him the confidence to pursue his expansionist ambitions. The remilitarization of the Rhineland was a turning point. It marked the end of the post-World War I peace and the beginning of a path that would lead the world into an even more destructive conflict. It was a clear demonstration of the failure of appeasement and a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked aggression. The remilitarization of the Rhineland was not just a violation of a treaty but a significant step towards the largest conflict in human history, World War II. So what have we learned from this bold stroke of defiance? We've revisited the stringent Versailles Treaty and its impact on post-World War I Germany. We've explored Hitler's daring decision to remilitarize the Rhineland, contravening the treaty's terms. We've also examined the repercussions of this act, which cast long, ominous shadows that hinted at the impending World War II. Indeed, Hitler's remilitarization of the Rhineland in 1936 was a significant event that foreshadowed the horrors of World War II. It reminds us that the decisions of the few can impact the lives of many and change the course of history.